You're listening to the Heavy Duty Parts Report. I'm your host, Jamie Irvin, and this is the podcast where you will get expert advice about the heavy duty parts you buy and keep you informed about what's happening in the industry. This episode is sponsored by TruckPartsInventory.com. Lowering cost per mile is all about finding the right part quickly. At TruckPartsInventory.com, you will save time by searching inventory from around North America in one place. You will save money by having the option of buying new, used, or aftermarket parts. You'll save yourself work by sending a parts request and having companies contact you. TruckPartsInventory.com is easy to use and it's free. Go to TruckPartsInventory.com today. Nothing contributes to increasing the cost of operating a heavy-duty truck and trailer more than unscheduled downtime. It is one thing when you encounter a mechanical problem, but it's got to be really frustrating when it's something like a tire. Is there a guaranteed way to protect tires from punctures? Well, to help us answer that question, I'd like to introduce you to Len Prince, CEO of TotalTireProtection.com. Len, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Give us a quick history lesson. How have tires improved over the years, but why do they still need tire protector?
Tires have improved. They made them now. They could last longer. They're less rolling resistance, and they're going to keep improving year after year after year. And they need a reason why they're going to charge you so much more, because they're going to be improving something that doesn't really need improvement, but they're improving it so they have a reason to charge you more. And what we have developed a product, it's called Tire Protector. And that's a gel that you insert into the tire, and it covers your inside crown of the tire. So any punctures that develop up to a half an inch, it will self-seal it by pushing the gel into the hole automatically, and you won't even know that it's a flat. It also helps you keep the air pressure up, because natural pores in the rubber will leak. You will lose air naturally, whether a pound or two a month, but you will lose it. With Tire Protector, it prevents air from escaping through the pores of the natural rubber.
So I live in Alberta, and where our winters are, very, very cold. So sometimes in a day, from night to day, you can have a temperature swing of 20 or 30 degrees. It's crazy. How does the product stand up to the different temperatures that a tire sees? It gets really hot when it's rolling down the highway, but then it freezes off at nighttime.
It's been tested from plus 45 Celsius to minus 45 Celsius. And it stays in the gel type. The difference between ours and others is most of the tire gel, there's dozens out there. They consist of fibers. Fibers will block the hole, but also fibers will crack and they will reopen the hole. Our product is fiber with rubber based, so it always stays gummy and it will never reopen, and it lasts for the life of the tire. I live in Quebec, so we have the same temperatures, and I use them on my car. I don't recommend it on a car, because on a car it gives you a little bit of vibration, but I'd rather have a little bit of vibration than changing a tire at minus 35.
I grew up in New Brunswick, so we had those nor'easters come in. So the only time I got away from the real frigid cold in the winters was when I lived in Vancouver, and then it just rained and rained and rained. So you know what? You got good weather and bad weather no matter where you live.
Absolutely, but I'd rather have the good weather in Florida than the bad weather up here. But I hear that we're getting a nor'easter coming up north, and it's going to be snow this weekend.
Oh, wow.
Believe it or not.
Yeah. We just
in May.
Yeah, we just had some snow here too. So, okay, so two Canadians totally sidetracked in our conversation. All of you American listeners, now you understand why we're so concerned with the weather, because sometimes our weather can be dynamic. Len, let's move on here and talk about something that can contribute to not only, like, we've kind of talked about unscheduled downtime with tires, but one of the big focuses of our show is how to lower cost per mile. And you have a product called EcoFin, and I believe that will help with cost per mile. Can you explain that product to us?
EcoFence is, I'll show you the product. It's a little vortex generator. Vortex generators, what they do, it creates vortices. And because there's the air that goes around your vehicle is very violent. What EcoFence is a vortex generator, which airplane wings have them, but it's just a different shape. It creates vortices that smooths out the air, and you have a gap between the truck and the trailer. About 70% of that gap, the air will bypass it if you have the fins on the side of the truck. And then you have the suction effect in the back of the trailer. Our customers are saying between 4 and 6% of fuel savings, plus there's smoothness in the wind. You feel that you're not shaking. It helps a lot. And I have it on my car. And if you're sitting beside on halfway up a tractor trailer, I don't care what kind of vehicle you have, you're moving. I could sit a little Jetta and I'm not moving. 2 fingers on the steering wheel, air is smooth. And it does save. We have a customer in Syracuse. I met him at the Mid-America show a couple of years ago. He wanted to try it just on the trailer. He's a local mail carrier for U.S. Post Office. And he put him on a couple of trailers. He said he gained about 3.5 to 4% just on the trailers.
So what we're really addressing is we're addressing aerodynamics, we're addressing drag, and if you can alleviate that, your engine doesn't have to work so hard, so then you don't consume as much energy. Is that the basic, like, to really dumb it down to my level?
It's dumbing down to anybody's level. I'm no rocket scientist, but yeah, that's exactly what it does. Is the less you press on the fuel, the more fuel will stay in your tank, not come out of your pipes.
And right now, everybody needs to be paying attention to cost per mile. I will say it every episode until we are done here, because it's such an important part of operating a fleet. What kinds of, with EcoFin, you said that you could get like up to 3 to 4% on fuel. If you have what is it, 120 gallon tank, or liter tank, that is a significant savings each fill up, and then over the course of a year, we're really getting into thousands of dollars, aren't we?
At 2%, this is 3-4% just if you put it on the trailer, and you're adding another 2% on the truck. Just on a truck, the return on investment is about, if you're doing 10 to 12,000 miles a month, you're spending about $50,000 in fuel costs a year. You're saving over $1,000. If you just put them on the truck, you're saving over $1,000 a year in fuel prices alone.
And who wouldn't want to put $1,000 back in their pocket?
I still haven't found the person to do that.
Found money right there. So safety is always an issue when operating a commercial vehicle. Safety for the driver, safety for the public around the vehicle. Tell me more about your product called ZamLock, because I believe there's a safety component to that.
Yes, ZamLock is, we did a study and we looked at the reports, how many tires, wheels have been lost a year. Where over 50 tires have lost per month reported in North America. That's including trucks, buses, school buses, etc. You know as well as I do that when you lose a tire and it's going down the road, that's a projectile. Projectile will kill, and it's killed a lot of people. For every tire that's lost and reported, there's about 25 of them are not. And what Zamlock does, it keeps the lug nuts. Here, I'll show you. This is a Zamlock. It's a.
So for those who are just, Len, for those who are just like watching the video, they can see it. But for those that are just listening on the podcast, I need you to describe it. So go ahead and describe what you're showing there.
We have I call it a dog bone. A dog bone is, you're putting them on two lug nuts. The left lug nut is keeping the right one locked. The right one's keeping it left. And it's designed to keep them locked till about 10% of the required torque, which is between 450 and 500 foot-pounds. So when it gets to about 10% of the torque, like 45 to 50 foot-pounds, then the teeth on the dog bone starts backing off. Once it starts backing off, you have a flag behind it, like an indicator, telling you which nut is loose. There's other products out there that's safety conscious. They have just a indicator, and some is just a lock. But having a lock is just half the insurance, because if it does back up, you have no idea which nut is the issue. So this way, we got this patent in 2016, I believe, U.S. and Canadian patent, and we're starting it really now to market to major fleets. I've had fleets. I introduced them to this many years ago, and one guy calls me up and says, "We lost the wheel. I need your Zamlocks."
Yeah, it's sad that sometimes it takes an accident to get people to see the value in something. But I think as a society and as an industry, I think we are coming around to being more focused on ways of reducing liability. So I like the idea that it's both an indicator and a lock. The indicator is bright yellow, so it's very visual, very easy for people to see and to quickly assess what's going on there. So that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, it does, and it really works. It's simple. I'm a firm believer in the KISS system. Keep it simple, stupid. And the more the more stupidity out there, the more we come up with something to curb that stupidity.
Yeah,
and it's little stuff like this helps the fleet safety wise, because I've driven 4.5 million miles in a tractor trailer. I've been there, done that, bought a t-shirt.
Yeah, we're going to talk about those t-shirts because people watching the video are going to notice that Len and I are wearing the same shirt, but we're in two different provinces and about 3,000 miles apart. So we're going to explain that in a moment. Before we get to that, I wanted to kind of circle back to the fact that these aren't the only products you sell. There's other products. So if you go to your website, which will include links in the show notes, people can get to see all that. But when you put all these products together, you see a real desire on your part to help people who operate trucks. Everything from unnecessary breakdown with tires, fuel saving, safety on the wheels, and the other products that you sell. So I was going to ask you why you're so passionate about that, but after hearing that you've put 4.5 million miles on the road in a truck, I get it now. Yeah,
and I also have these for trailers, those frozen brake checks. Those it's guides, like how many people have hooked up to a trailer, empty trailer, dragged it for about a half a mile, says, oh, and then you have flat spots. That's tires lost. All these, like I said, all these little things, they save you money. Mm-hmm. And I'm a firm believer in saving money.
Yeah. And with with dragging frozen up lock wheels, I mean, you could build up enough heat. Yeah, it's the tires. It can be wheel end damage, the brakes. There's so many things where that can go really, really wrong. So, little simple products solves real problems. Good for you for contributing to the industry in that way. But let's talk about another way that you're contributing to the industry. So everybody who's watching on YouTube, you're going to see that we've got the same trucks on them. Len, what does the shirt say?
It says, if you are wearing it, eating it, or drinking it, thank a truck driver for bringing it. And that is the truest statement ever was made.
Yeah, and the pandemic has certainly brought that to the awareness of the public. They now understand the unseen role that the transportation logistics industry plays in keeping our society operating safely and providing people with the necessities. So, Len, thank you for being on the podcast today. Just before we go, is there one thing you want to leave people with?
Yes, for about these T-shirts, I just want to say that 25% of all proceeds are going to help homeless vets. Canadian sales are going to go to Canadian vets. U.S. sales are going to go to U.S. vets. And I have a passion of there's no way in this world that any vet who served our country should be homeless. That's just my little piece of help.
Yeah, and homelessness as an issue as a whole is just something that, we just can't tolerate. So it's really important that everyone's doing their part. If you want to buy these shirts, we'll have links in the show notes so that you can just do one click and take you right to the landing page, and you can go from there. And really appreciate you being on the podcast, Len, and we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Pleasure was mine, and thanks for the invite.
You've been listening to the Heavy Duty Parts Report. I'm your host, Jamie Irvin. We've been speaking with Len Prince, CEO of TotalTireProtection.com. To learn more, go to TotalTireProtection.com today. And once again, we just want to thank Len for being on the podcast.
Thank you.
Have you subscribed to the podcast yet? Go to HeavyDutyPartsReport.com today to subscribe to the podcast. And don't forget to give us a 5-star rating and review on the podcast player of your choice. I'd like to remind everyone to focus on cost per mile over purchase price and let's keep those trucks and trailers rolling. You can watch our next video, and don't forget, subscribe to the YouTube channel.